The Lang Men o LARUT by Rudyard Kipling. Footnote copyright 1891 by Macmillan Co. The chief engineer's sleeping suit was of yellow striped with blue, and his speech was the speech of Aberdeen. They sluiced the deck under him, and he hopped on to the ornamental capstan, a black pipe between his teeth, though the hour was not 7 of the morn. Did you ever hear O the Lang Men o LARUT? He asked, when the man from Orizava had finished a story of an aboriginal giant discovered in the wilds of Brazil. There was never story yet past the lips of teller, but the man from Orizava could cap it. No, we never did, we responded with one voice. The man from Orizava watched the chief keenly as a possible rival. I'm not telling the story for the sake of talking, merely said the chief, but as a warning against betting, unless you bet on a perfect certainty. The Langmen o LARUT were just a certainty. I have had talk why them now LARUT you will understand is a dependency, or it may be an outlying possession o the island o Penang, and there they will get you tin and manganese and it mayhap mica, and all manner o minerals. LARUT is a great place. But what about the population, said the man from Orizava. The population, said the chief slowly, were few. But enormous. You must understand that except in the tin mines, there is no special inducement to Europeans to reside in LARUT. The climate is warm and remarkably like the climate o Calcutta, and in regard to Calcutta, it cannot have escaped your observation that Calcutta isn't LARUT and we've only just come from it, protested the man from Orizava. There's a meteorological department in Calcutta too. Aye, but there's no meteorological department in LARUT. Each man is a law to himself. Some drink whiskey, and some drink brandypanny, and some drink cocktails. Vara bad for the coats o the stomach, is a cocktail, and some drink sangaree, so I have been credibly informed, but one and all they sweat like the packing of Pistonhead on a 14 days voyage, with the screw racing half her time. But as I was saying, the population, o LARUT, was 5 all told of English, that is to say Scotch, and I'm Scotch, said the chief. The man from Orizava lit another cigarette and waited patiently. It was hopeless to hurry the chief engineer. I am not pretending to account for the population o LARUT being laid down, according to such fabulous dimensions. O the 5 white men, engaged upon the extraction o tin ore, and mercantile pursuits, there were 3 o the sons o Anak. Wait. While I remember Lamater was the first by 2 inches a giant in the land, and a terrific man to cross in his ways from heel to head. He was 6 feet 9 inches and proportionately built across, and through the thickness of his body 6 good feet 9 inches an overbearing man next to him, and I have forgot his precise business, was Sandy Vowel, and he was 6 feet 7 but lean and lathy, and it was more in the elasticity of his neck that the height lay than in any honesty o bone and sinew. 5 feet and a few odd inches may have been his real height, the remainder came out when he held up his head, and 6 feet 7, he was upon the dorsals. I took his measure in chalk standing on a chair, and next to him, but a proportionately made man ruddy, and of a fair countenance, was Jock Conthet. They called the fur cone, he was but 6 feet 5, and a child beside. Lamater and Vowel, when the 3 walked out together, they made a scunner run through the colony o LARUT. The Malays ran round them, as though they had been the giant trees in the Yosemite Valley. 3 Lang Men o LARUT. It was perfectly ridiculosa lucis naturalis. One little place should have contained maybe the 3 tallest ordinar men upon the face o the earth. Observe now, the order o things for it led to the finest big drink in LARUT, and 6 sore heads the morn that endured for a week I am against immoderate liquor. But the event to follow was a justification. You must understand that many coasting steamers call at LARUT why strangers owe the mercantile profession in the springtime, when the young coconuts were ripening, and the trees o the forests were putting forth their leaves. There came an American man to LARUT, and he was 6 foot 3, or it may have been 4. In his stockings he came on business from Sacramento, but he stayed for pleasure. Why the Langmen o LARUT less than a half o the population were ordinar in their girth and stature. You will understand Howson and Naylor merchants 5 feet 9 or thereabouts. He had business with those 2, and he stood above them from the 6 feet 3 o his height, till they went to drink in the course o conversation. He said, as tall men will things about his height, and the trouble of it to him that was his pride o the flesh. As the longest man in the island, he said, but there they took him up and asked if he were sure. I say I am the longest man in the island, he said, and on that ill bet my substance. They laid down the bedplates of a big drink then and there, and put it aside while they called Jock Cone from his house near by among the fireflies winking. How's a why, you said Jock, and came in by the side o the Sacramento profligate 2 inches, or it may have been 1 taller than he. Ure long, said the man, opening his eyes. But I am longer, and they sent a whistle through the night, and howked out Sandy Vowel from his bit bungalow. And he came in and stood by the side o' Jock, and the pair just fillet the room to the ceiling cloth. The Sacramento man was a euchre player, and a most profane swearer. You hold both bowers, he said, but the joker is with me. Fair and softly, says Naylor Jock Wars, Lang Lameter. Here, says that man, putting his leg through the window, and coming in like an anaconda o' the desert furlong, by furlong 1 foot in Penang, and one in Batavia, and a hand in North Borneo it may be. Are you suited, said Naylor, when the hinder end o' Lang Lameter was slidden through the sill, and the head of Lameter was lost in the smoke away above. The American man took out his card, and put it on the table. Esdras B. Longer is my name, America is my nation, Frisco is my resting place. But this here beats creation, said he. Boys, giants, I'd show giants minded to slide out of my bet. If I had been overtopped on the strength of the riddle on this pasteboard, I would have done it if you had topped me, even by 3 inches. But when it comes to feet yard smiles, I am not the man to shirk the biggest drink that ever made the traveler's joy palm blush with virginal indignation, or the orangutan, and the perambulating Dyak howl with envy set them up and continue till the final conclusion. O moan, I tell you 'twas an awful sight to see those 4 giants thrashing about the house and the island, and tearing down the pillars thereof, and throwing palm trees broadcast, and curling their long legs round the hills o' LARUT and awfu sight. I was there, I did not mean to tell you, but it's out now. I was not overcome, for I e'en sat me down under the pieces o' the table, at 4 the morn, and meditated upon the strangeness of things. Losh yawns the breakfast bell,